Hello students, let us start with the female reproductive system in continuation of the reproductive system. The female reproductive system comprises of many parts. We can sequence them out in the following way. We start from the main female reproductive organ, that is of one pair of ovaries. It is followed by fallopian tubes or oviducts. Then a well-developed uterus. Then cervix and vagina, which opens outside body. If we see the anatomy of the female reproductive system, here is the diagram. The first organ which I have just named, that is ovary. It is ovary. Then these are fimbriae. Here it is mentioned fimbriae. These are finger-like processes which joins to fallopian tube, and these fallopian tubes, right as well as left, opens in the uterus. The wall of uterus, you can see, is highly masculine, is highly vascular as well as muscular. This is the body of the uterus. The inner lining of uterus is called as endometrium, and the outer lining is muscular, it is known as myometrium. This is the site for implantation, where fetus starts growing. This uterus opens by cervix into tube-like structure called vagina, which opens outside body. So if we start naming the structure in the correct sequence, this is the main reproductive organs of female reproductive tract, that is ovary. They are located just above the kidneys, and this is connected with the wall outer side of uterus, and each ovary produces eggs as well as some hormones which are required for maintaining the secondary sexual characters of female as well as of maintaining pregnancy. This part of oviduct, which is having finger-like processes, is known as fimbriae. Start from fimbriae, this fallopian tube, this is the ampullary part, this is the ampulla, where actually the fertilization takes place. Means when coitus occurs, the sperms are transferred into vagina. From here they start moving, traveling with the help of undulating movement of sperm tail, and they finally reaches to the oviduct or fallopian tube, and when the egg is released from ovary, it is released first into the coelom. Remaining here for some time, it is catched up by the fimbriae. Then this egg also travels towards the uterus, and it is somewhere here that the fertilization takes place in ampullary region of oviduct. Means fusion of gametes, that is sperm as well as egg, takes place in the ampullary region of fallopian tube. Let us discuss the internal structure of ovary. If we see the ovary from inside, It looks like this. It is lined with the germinal epithelium cells. These cells continue to divide mitotically initially. This is germinal epithelium. It divides mitotically to produce egg mother cell. It leads to development of primary oocyte. Primary oocyte is, in mammals, particularly in man, it is retained for around 14 years of age. This entire process is under the process of oogenesis. Means when germinal epithelium divides mitotically to give rise the primary oocyte, it is half part of the oogenesis. The age of 14 years is one period where approximately menstrual cycle starts. Means the further development of this primary oocyte starts after 14 years of age, and this entire phase is known as growth phase of oogenesis. Finally, this growth phase leads to maturation phase, where immotile eggs are produced which are able to be fertilized by the sperms. If we see the internal structure under light microscope, the ovarian tissue is filled up with the stroma. Here we have got developing follicles in various stages of development. You can see these structures are known as Graafian follicles. Inside these Graafian follicles, the development of egg takes place. On maturation, this Graafian follicle, it ruptures and egg is released from the ovary. We will study this process in detail in menstrual cycle. Let us see the anatomical part first. See, this is the fallopian tube, which is around 10 centimeters long, lying in the lower part of the abdominal cavity. It is a muscular part. It can be divided for the ease of understanding in 4 regions. Fallopian tube. Number 1, it is infundibulum. Number 2, it is ampulla, where fertilization takes place. Then isthmus, which literally means bridge. It connects the left as well as right fallopian tube, and lastly the uterine part of oviduct. Ultimately, the large size highly muscular organ uterus is there, lying in the pelvic cavity. This uterus undergo cyclic changes, and these cyclic changes are studied under menstrual cycle. As we have seen, uterus leads to vagina with a small passage called cervix. It's a lower narrow part projection to the vagina, and this is vagina, which is large median elastic and muscular tube, also known as birth canal. It acts as a common passage for transfer of sperm as well as removal of waste product, that is for urination. When we study the cyclic changes taking place in the uterus at the onset of puberty, these cyclic changes are studied under menstrual cycle. There are changes in two structures. One is in ovary and another is in uterus. See, the entire process is under hormonal control. These hormones are released from pituitary gland located in the brain. They are called as gonadotropins. It includes FSH, known as follicle stimulating hormone, and number 2, LH, known as luteinizing hormone. Apart from it, ovary produces the main female hormone, that is known as estrogen. It is produced by Graafian follicle. The characteristics of female are controlled by estrogen. One should be very clear about this. The start of menstrual cycle, that is around the age of 14 or 15 years in a girl, is known as menarche, and the cessation or the completion of menstrual cycle is known as menopause. It's around 50 years of age in female. The cycle is of around 28 days. We call it a cycle because the changes takes place in uterus as well as in ovary. They are in a cyclic manner. This cycle is involved in release of egg, very important event during sexual reproduction. For the understanding process, the 28 days can be divided into 4 phases. The first is known as menstrual phase. Second phase is known as follicular phase. Third phase is known as ovulatory phase. And fourth phase is known as luteal phase. We can see the cyclic changes in uterus as well as in the ovary. Specifically, we can see this graph to understand the menstrual cycle phases. See, this is the wall of uterus or the uterine cavity. We can clearly see it from here. That during menses this breaks down. Destruction of the functional zone of uterus. This results in bleeding because these blood capillaries which are developed, they are broken and the epithelium is also broken. Then start again to recover, and again thickening starts. This process is known as reparative regeneration or proliferation. The process is under control of two hormones, as I told. One is FSH, another is LH. You can see when the menstrual cycle, the bleeding phase or the menstrual phase takes place, there are very low levels of FSH as well as LH. Whereas in the mid of the cycle, that is in proliferative phase, there are very high levels of FSH as well as LH as compared to the beginning phase. FSH is little bit lower. Then the third phase, that is the ovulatory phase, is somewhere here when the egg is released from the ovary in the secondary oocyte stage. It's a very important question. That egg is released in the secondary oocyte stage from the ovary, and when the egg is released, there are two chances. One is that it will be fertilized, and another is that it will get wasted. In case it is fertilized, then pregnancy starts. If it is not fertilized, then the cycle is repeated, means the bleeding occurs. So the entire period takes place around 28 days and can be divided in the four above mentioned stages, that is menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase as well as luteal phase. We can see the development of eggs in this diagram. These are the follicular stages. During ovarian cycle, it starts growing and growing. Inside this cavity there is a fluid is also accumulated, and in the mid this egg is released in the secondary oocyte stage, and it means that Graafian follicle is ruptured over here, and you can see the yellow color diagram which is resulted from Graafian follicle after release of egg. This yellow colored body is known as corpus luteum. Corpus luteum contains fluid called lutein. It is very important temporary endocrine structure which is involved in secretion of hormone called progesterone. It is the main hormone of pregnancy. Rather, I would say it maintains pregnancy. So we have seen the development of egg, maturation of egg, then release of egg, that is ovulation, and after ovulation this Graafian follicle is converted into corpus luteum. In case fertilization does not take place, the levels of progesterone comes down very sharply. As a result of this, the endometrium lining breaks and menstrual bleeding takes place, egg is wasted, it's not utilized or it's not fertilized. So the entire process is known as menstrual cycle. We can see this graph is mentioned from 0 to 28 days. The process of oogenesis, just like spermatogenesis, steps are same but they are a little bit different. See, this is the diploid cell with 46 chromosomes. It is not an ordinary cell. It may give rise to the egg. it divides continuously before birth by mitotic division, and this process is known as multiplication phase. Multiplication phase. Now, this structure is known as egg mother cell. One of the egg mother cell will develop and will grow in size, and it is known as primary oocyte. Rest of the cell will not develop into the primary oocyte, rather they will surround it, resulting in formation of graphene follicle. This period is of around 15 years, very long period, development of primary oocyte. So we call it as a growth phase. Ultimately, it is matured and now divides meiotically. What we will get? We will get two types of cells. One is larger cell, one is very small cell as compared to the main cell. It is known as polar body or first polar body. Again, this cell will divide meiotically. It is known as meiosis second, and this polar body is also divides into two polar bodies, and this is also divided into one smaller polar body. So in all there are four polar bodies formed during meiosis. One should ask that what is the significance of formation of these polar bodies? Answer is very simple. Since only one egg will be fertilized by sperm, to form zygote. So the entire developmental process will take place from one egg. So the maximum amount of cytoplasm as well as nutrients, they are retained in the one cell that is going to develop into the matured egg, and the rest is discarded from the body. These are not at all required, so they are discarded. And this is the secondary oocyte. The entire process of meiosis is known as maturation phase. So there are three phases of oogenesis. A is multiplication phase, B is growth phase, and C is maturation phase. We should know that the formation of secondary oocyte to the egg takes place only when the sperm penetrates it. In the absence of sperm or in the absence of fertilization, this secondary oocyte is discarded from the body. So this is all about oogenesis in brief. This egg is immotile, it cannot move of its own. It is released initially from the ovary into the coelom, that is body cavity, and catched up by the fimbriae. It reaches to the ampulla of oviduct, and in case fertilized, the implantation takes place in the uterine cavity, that is here. site of implantation. This is site of fertilization. Let us study the process of fertilization. Fertilization is a very essential process during sexual reproduction. Since it involves meeting of both male and female gametes, that is sperm as well as egg. In case of man, there is only one sperm is able to penetrate the wall of egg. Suppose this is egg in the secondary oocyte stage, and we have got one sperm. So the head portion of the sperm, which bears the genetic material, that is nucleus, is able to enter inside the egg. The structure of a sperm should be very clear in your mind. This is the head portion, this is the tail portion. We have got this acrosome surrounding the head. This is known as acrosome. It releases some lytic enzymes like hyaluronidase, which breaks the egg wall to facilitate the penetration of male nucleus. Now it is known as, after entering into the egg, the name is changed, it is known as pronucleus. This is the egg nucleus known as egg pronucleus. So the fusion of male as well as female pronucleus is known as amphimixis. It results into the formation of diploid zygote. This is also haploid and this is also haploid. Results in the diploid zygote. Ultimately, the new organism develops from this zygote, and the organism is again in the parental stage, that is in diploid stage. This is haploid and it is also haploid. These are the conceptual things should be kept always in the mind. Fertilization is a species specific process. By saying so, we mean that the sperm of same species are able to fertilize the egg of same species. Basically, there are certain chemicals or molecules which are present on the egg membrane as well as on the sperm membrane, which are species specific chemicals. There is an interaction for some time which results into the lysis of the egg membrane and release of sperm nucleus into the egg cytoplasm. Ultimately, zygote forms, results in the formation of embryo. The process of fertilization is a very complex one which results in the formation of zygote, and this zygote undergoes the mitotic division. The first division of zygote occurs here only inside the fallopian tube. It is a single cell, it divides into the 2 cells, then it is divided further into the 4 cells. Ultimately, in around 8 cell stage, this is inside the uterine cavity and known as embryo. Embryo slowly develops into fetus, which develops into child. The process of giving birth to child is known as parturition. So there are two terms. One is fertilization, which is taking place in the fallopian tube in the ampullary region. Then there is implantation taking place in the uterine wall, and on completion of developmental process, the parturition takes place. That is the birth of the young one. We'll discuss the next part in our next lecture. Thank you.